And the full-time scenes there, as you see, this the moment as Japan found out that they are going through to the knockout stages as well. The first ever time at the World Cup that a team has advanced on the fair play rule. And look, Didi, it's a crazy way to go through in a competition. But look, Japan don't care, do they?
No, they don't. I don't agree with it, though, because it shouldn't come down to yellow cards. And because sometimes in a World Cup, you've got games where it's getting really feisty. And, you know, when you play against a team that's very physical, you've got to look after yourself. And well, I'm not sure what the perfect solution would be. I don't like Japan going through in the yellow cards. I think they do deserve their place in the last 16. I think they've been excellent in their group stage. But it's harsh on these guys because that's one of their strengths, their physicality, and they kind of get punished for what really makes that team good. We've seen it again today in the first half. They've been excellent. I think they got another 1 or 2 bookings today. But that's the way they play. And, yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Senegal, I have to say, because they really lit that tournament up, gave a great account of themselves. And, yeah, very disappointed for them. And I can't even imagine how they feel now.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can after you saw Germany last night, unfortunately. Richard, sorry to remind you of that again. From an African point of view, I mean, we saw similar scenes like this with Nigeria going out the other night as well, and that is the last African team going out. And as Didi says, they are being punished, but they did try to play football.
Yeah, they were set up really well. They came into the game knowing that they needed a draw, and probably that was on the back of their minds, that they weren't as free as they wanted to be to go forward. But going back to the yellow card things, you would imagine then going forward that VAR will have to look at all yellow cards and all. It's going to be that important in terms of the outcome of a group stage, that people are going to be wanting yellow cards checked, rescinded and changed and different things like that. But it's disappointing for them. It's disappointing, I suppose, for the African continent, where they thought maybe they could start to progress and looking to compete in the later stages of the tournament. And this tournament, it's not worked out. It's not worked out great for them. But I think Senegal have been very unlucky. They performed well in the games. They looked well organised, and I actually think if they had got through, they would have went a lot further than what Japan will. I think they would have put a bigger test up to either Belgium or England, but unfortunately, yeah, it just wasn't to be.
The thing is, Kevin, they blew a lead against Japan twice. I mean, if they'd have won that game, all of a sudden they're in a totally different scenario today.
Exactly. You know, even today, I thought they had the better chances during the game. Colombia didn't look like scoring. Another set piece in the World Cup. They've turned out to be so important, more so than ever in this World Cup. But you have to give credit to Japan. They, as you said, they came back twice against Senegal. Senegal blew that lead twice. So, you know, you give credit to Japan where it's due.
Yeah, well, you look at that table there, Colombia and Japan, just confirmation of that going through. And if anybody is wondering about that, the level on points scenario, the yellow card situation, Senegal had 6 yellow cards, Japan with just 4 yellow cards. So that is why they advanced on that. They were obviously level on everything else there today. So confirmation that it is Colombia and Japan going through, and Japan going through in spite of losing 1-0 to Poland. So, look, on the grand scheme of things, Colombia, they didn't play the best football today, Didi. How impressed or disappointed are you with them based on everything that they gave us there this afternoon?
Well, you can make a case that this was probably the worst game they've played. They gave a good account with 10 men for almost the whole game against Japan, going down late in the game, and they were excellent against Poland. Today they were poor. Very poor in the first half, a little bit better in the second half. Started to play more after going 1-0 up. Confidence came back, and obviously the pressure was gone a little bit. But I think mixed feelings, because they lost their star player in James Rodriguez. Need to see if it's a muscle problem with his calf or his hamstring. Then I doubt he'll be back in 5 or 6 days when they play the last 16 tie. On today's performance, I think either Belgium or England will fancy their chances against them. But what an opportunity now to win their group and being in the easier half of the draw, because if you go through the next round, then you've got Switzerland or Sweden potentially, and if they get Rodriguez back for the next game or for the next 2 games. I think this is a team to watch out for, but I think a lot will depend on him, because even with him in the first half today, they've been poor.
Yeah, no, they were. You did see him running on the pitch afterwards, whether that's just celebration, the adrenaline, who knows. Disappointment in Samara for the Senegalese fans and indeed the players. Quarter-finalists in their only ever World Cup appearance back in 2002, but tonight they go home, losing out on the fair play rule after losing to Colombia by a 1-0 today. So, look, a few bits to pick over, Kevin, in terms of that game. We only got 1 goal. We thought we might have had a goal fest, but we do have one for you to take a look at.
Yeah, thank God. There was a substitution time we spoke about. We wonder if that had an influence on the goal, because everyone says don't make a substitution, you know, when you're defending the corner. But he actually didn't have anything to do with it. It was a great header from Mina. He wasn't being picked up by the guy who just come on. Great ball in from Quintero as well. Loads of pace on it. He's 6'5", gets above everyone. But when you see it from the next angle, when Aliou Cisse sits down in a week or whenever he digests this game, he won't be happy with Koulibaly and Kayata. They both look between each other and both react too late and let him get a run on him, and he's 6'5". He's going to win the ball, but you need to be someone closer and marking him. It was a good header into the ground. Keeper can't do anything with it. They weren't going to score any other way. You know, they didn't create anything in that game, Colombia. It was really disappointing, but it was a good corner and a good header.
Kev, make a good point there about the defenders, Richard.
Yeah, they'll be so disappointed, because for the size of them, the physicality that they put in through the game, to concede from a set piece after 2 years of hard work to get to this stage, and into the last 15 minutes they can switch off for the corner, and Mina's a big guy and stuff like that, but they needed to be tighter to him, not let him get the run on them, and yeah, they failed, and yeah, like I said, they'd be so disappointed with it, because they weren't opened up at all throughout the game. They just, that one situation has cost them their tournament.
Potentially they'll be more disappointed because you're going to take a look at some of the chances they had themselves.
Yeah, they were a little bit, I suppose, cautious in the first half, and then once they did go one behind, they started to get the ball in the box, they started to get more bodies in, and they were unfortunate in the end. Nyang here, nice turn, good shot, difficult angle for them, but this is they needed to do this earlier. I think the whole game was a bit slower, nearly an OG there from Mina as well, but when they had the intensity to try and get the equaliser, you can see there's 4, 5, 6 players in the box all the time, and it wasn't there before, and you can understand why, but just a final bit of quality there from Sarr as well. We spoke about before the game. He's great in certain situations, but just that final thing lets him down. And unfortunately, in a big moment like that, you need someone with a bit more composure to. I think Jim said in commentary he should have hit it with his laces and tried to go back across the keeper, but he didn't look like he was expecting it, and yeah, there wasn't many opportunities, so you've got to try and make the best of the ones that come your way.
We did see a bit of that from them though, Didi, didn't we? That, you know, like they gave us some great stuff, as Richard said, Sarr bombing down the wings, but just when it came to that final finishing, they just didn't seem to have it today.
That's right, and that's why they have to go home, because there were opportunities today in the second half, but I just felt, when you control a game the way they did in the first half, you've got to create. I think we scraped 2 chances together. Ospina comfortably saved, and for all the aggression they showed, for all the way they stopped Colombia play, you have to create the odd chance. And they, even in the first half, when you probably defensively you can't play any better than they did, even there they didn't create any chances. And I think in the end that did let them down. And then if you concede of a set piece, then you know you don't have to be surprised that you do go home, because as we said before, they had 2 times the opportunity against Japan where they took the lead and they let it slip. So overall, yes, they gave us a lot, because I just like the physicality, similar to Iran. You know, they're fearless, the way they tackle. We saw tackling, maybe we can show it later, from the goalkeeper. They are fearless, but in the final third, you know, that fearlessness doesn't really get anywhere. You need to be composed and you need to concentrate, and that's where they've been let down today.
Before the game, Cisse said of Sadio Mane that he needed to play better if the team were going to play better, and when you look at that final finishing, could he have done more today, Kevin?
Yeah, he's the one you would expect to step up. You know, he seemed to be slipping a lot, snatching at chances. He didn't have any clear-cut chances, but he's the one on the team they would be looking to, you know, to make the difference, and it just didn't happen for him. I know he scored in the World Cup, but you couldn't say he had a good World Cup. He'd be disappointed to be going out so early, and you know, Senegal in general, I think they did enough to get through, but it was a tough group, and Japan and Colombia deserved it in the end.
Let's have a look at some of Colombia's other chances then, Didi. They only got the 1 goal, but they could have had 1 more at least.
That's right, and set pieces was where they've been most dangerous. That's a ball in, it drops, and it's a good block by the Senegalese. Here's another header which comes off Falcao's shoulder, a bit similar to Hummels yesterday when he had that last gasp chance. He's got to make a better contact, but these are the opportunities they had. It's 2 set pieces, and I wouldn't even call them they're half chances at best. And it just goes to show how good Senegal were defensively, apart from that one slip-up they had when Mina scored.
And look, I mean, Senegal are hard to beat, Richard. That much is obvious by watching them. But from a Colombian point of view, it's another set-piece goal. I think maybe we just expected more from them from open play.
Yeah, possibly. I think the way Senegal set up today, there wasn't much space for them to get in behind their midfield and to get their more talented players on the ball. So they made the best of a tough situation for them. And a team that can do both is a team that will go far. I think if you can score set pieces, and then when teams open up, which I think they will as the tournament goes on, they have players in Quintero and Rodriguez, if he gets fit again, that can create chances, and a centre forward who can make the runs and finish them off as well. I think the 2 centre halves, Mina and Sanchez, today were excellent. So we've seen Sanchez's tackle in the first half, which VAR got correct in the end, and then obviously Mina getting the goal. But the two of them, they had a tough physical task against Senegal today, but they stood up to it well. They used the ball well, and they look quick, they look strong, and what we've seen there, they're very strong on set pieces, and it's a great asset for the team.
What about Rodriguez then, Kevin? Because he came on in the first game, he did last the full 80 in the second game against Poland. He had to come off today very early on as well. I mean, we did see him at the end running on to celebrate with his teammates, but will they risk him for the next game? Do they have to?
I don't know how you could come off after 20 and then be able to play again in 4 days' time. I think to play 5 days' time. He had a slight calf going into the first game, slight calf injury, and they rested him and brought him on with 20 minutes ago. Maybe it's just a reoccurrence of that. But as you spotted, he was running on the pitch celebrating in the end, so he can't be too bad. He's young enough to heal quickly. They'll need him, you know. He's a real standout for them. Their front 4 is excellent, and he just adds that little bit of sparkle on the end of it. That little touch ahead of Quintero and Cuadrado and Falcao, and you saw in that game against Poland, he had 2 assists, and he's just that little icing on the cake to set up those chances that they need him in the team.
And now that it's a knockout game, Didi, does Peckerman just go, look, we have to go all out for this because there's no more safety doors?
In terms of Rodriguez, yeah, if he's fit, he's got to play. I wouldn't write them off. I still like their team. It was, which I think Jim said it in commentary, it was a lot at stake today. You know, you go into the game knowing only a win guarantees you going through. A draw may not have been enough. It would have been because Japan lost as well. But there was a lot at stake, and nerves will come into it. And you know, they went into the group as favourites. And I think it's very hard to play well against that Senegalese team because they don't give you any space. They're so quick, they're so fast, they're so physical. It's a big team. And I think it's very hard to play well against them. And all they could do today was stand up to it, which they didn't really do in the first half. In the second half, they did. And they found a way to get through. And sometimes it's not the worst sign when you don't play well and win games. And that's what they did today. So I think there's a lot more to come. I would give him every chance, or probably fancy them against either England or Belgium, as it'll be a totally different game. And as I said, it's not easy to play well against that Senegalese team, and they'd be delighted to go through. They've got a few more hours rest now than the other 2 teams, and they'll be raring to go because, as we said, they're in the better half of the draw. I think the winner of the last 16, whether it's England or Belgium and these, I can see them going to the final.
Yeah, what do you think, Richard? Because, I mean, look, there was a lot of talk about what side of the draw would you be on. We now know that they are going to get the losers of that Belgium-England game tonight. So clearly they have to take it that one game at a time now at this stage. Yeah,
definitely. But it's, as Didi says, the winner of that game has a great opportunity to go far in this competition, because you look across the right-hand side of the draw, and they're good sides, but they're sides that are beatable. And certainly Spain would be the strongest team there, and we've seen Spain are a bit vulnerable as well in this tournament. So, yeah, the match tonight between England and Belgium is a tough one, because they'll want to play Japan in the next round, but after that then it's either Brazil or Mexico, who've both done really well. So that makes tonight intriguing, because how do the teams set up? Do you go because you've got a chance of getting to the quarterfinals, or do you come second because you've got a chance maybe of getting further if you can beat Colombia? So it's tough. I think Colombia will be a challenge for both sides, And I'd say both sides would fancy beating Japan and then take the chance in the quarterfinals with what comes along.
Yeah, well, they'll know now who they have after seeing that today. So, confirmation of the Group H table. It is Colombia and Japan going through. Colombia as the group winners and Japan going through on the fair play rule. Less yellow cards than Senegal. So, quick word then on Japan, Kevin. And look, you know, they came into this group as bottom seeds and all of a sudden they're through to the knockout stages. You have to give them huge credit.
Yeah, we were just speaking, you know, how hard Colombia found it against Senegal's physicality. Japan managed it and they came from behind twice to equalise in that game. So, you know, they have something. They deserve to be there. You just worry about their performance, you know, losing to a poor Poland team today. A Poland team who were on the way home, you know, probably thinking about their holidays in the last week, booking them. So, you know, that's the question mark over them. But they've as many points as Senegal. They had a better record behind it. So, you know, they deserve it. And they were impressive in that Senegal game. And I hope they can put up a good show now in the last 16.
Yeah, well, we shall see. They're going to get the winners of Belgium and England. We'll see who that is to come tonight.